What is going on, IF Warriors? So today we have Dr. Reza T. Now, this video is called 6 Ways to Burn Fat. Keep in mind, I've watched this video already, but I want to watch it with you guys. I want to discuss, is it true? Is it not true? Is he overreaching? Let's go ahead and take a look at the video. Here we go.
Burning fat. Are you trying to burn fat? Well, let me give you the top 6 tips that are proven to help you burn fat most effectively. Are you ready? Here we go. Number 6, don't eat late at night.
What do you think I'm going to say about don't eat late at night? Do you think I'm going to say he is correct or he is incorrect? The answer is he is incorrect. You could eat at night. You could eat in the morning. You could eat whenever you want. Technically, if you're trying to lose weight, and you could just eat at a caloric deficit and you'll be able to lose weight, even if that means eating at night, even if that means eating earlier during the day. Don't get fooled by, oh, but isn't your digestive system slower? It doesn't matter how slow it is. Even if you took the logic, right, of your digestive system being slower at night, does that mean when it's super slow, it still doesn't get to the end point? If you're racing and someone's faster than you, and the other person is super slow, the person's still eventually going to get to the finish line. So having a slower, digestive system or whatever during that time doesn't mean that whatever needs to be burned or needs to be digested or won't eventually get there just a little bit slower than, something not eating or whatever because your digestive system is fast. My point is, even if you're doing intermittent fasting, you could not eat in the morning and eat at night. You'll still get the benefits of intermittent fasting because you've been fasting throughout all of those other time frames during that day. So basically, yes, you could eat at night. It just all depends on what's your system, what's convenient to you, and what you can sustain over the long term. If it's something like, hey, listen, I fast during the day and I eat at night, well, there you go. If it's just like, oh, look, I control all of my calories, but when I get to, I eat at night too, but I just make sure that I'm always within a certain caloric deficit at all times, so I'm still losing weight, then that's also good for you. So don't eat at night. Doesn't really do anything without context, right? If he's saying, hey, do intermittent fasting or something, there's context there. Don't eat at night is just there's no context there. And just saying that in a vacuum is unnecessary. You could eat at night if you want and still burn fat.
Common sense. The later you eat, the more likely you're going to store instead of burn.
That doesn't make sense. You're not going to store it just because you ate at night. Doesn't make sense.
Makes sense, right? Number 5.
So all that matters is, I'm sorry, it's just, these kind of things are kind of like, I don't want to say they trigger me, but they're a little bit annoying because I see them so much. It's so prevalent in the fitness industry. But you're not going to store, all that matters. That's why alternate day fasting, for example, works. Because even if you kind of try to overeat or whatever, it doesn't matter because the overall caloric deficit for the week, because you skipped the whole day, is still kind of in your favor. So the only thing that matters in this sense is, are you at a caloric deficit? Are you not? Not if you ate, your body's gonna be like, oh, so since you ate at night, I'm storing this, even though we need the energy because you don't have enough energy. No, I'm gonna store this. Basically, every food that you eat technically gets stored, but it's not about what's being stored immediately in that moment. It's about overall, are you losing body fat or are you storing more body fat? That's what's important. You could be storing this over here, but you're burning this over here, and then this will eventually get burned later down the line. But overall, you are burning more than you are storing. Let's continue.
5. Intermittent fasting. Now, I did a video about this, and I also created a pamphlet you can download from my Stand store to learn how to do this properly. Number 4.
All right. Do I have to say anything about intermittent fasting? It's a great tool. You know, you could use it. Anybody could use it if you like. Once again, it's not for everybody. If you do it and you don't like it, it doesn't, it doesn't fit something for like your lifestyle, or it's not something that you feel that you could do for the rest of your life. Don't do intermittent fasting. Pick something else. But you do have to pick something if you want to create an intervention to lose weight. That's all I'm saying. Intermittent fasting is super helpful for you not to graze. It also does directly help with calorie partitioning in terms of burning more body fat, since it literally needs to tap into your body fat if done correctly, because you are depleting glycogen, and that glycogen is getting replaced by ketones, and that ketone is being created via the fatty acids being sent to the liver and the process of beta hydroxybutyrate, and that turns it into ketones. And your brain takes up to 70%, can deal with up to 70% of ketones. So intermittent fasting does help you on a biological level, even on a hormonal level, with insulin sensitivity, ghrelin reduction, and leptin increase. So anyways, let's continue. But yeah, good tool. But other tools exist out there as well that you can use, but intermittent fasting is definitely one of them.
4, eat slowly. The more slowly you eat, the quicker you get full. And that's essential if you want to cut down calories and not put on fat.
Okay, eat slowly. The way he said it is not necessarily correct, but what he's saying is somewhat correct. Because the thing is, leptin secretion or your leptin hormone is what tells your brain that you're full. If you don't have that much leptin, which happens if you don't get a good night's rest, if you don't get enough hours of sleep, if you're overeating consistently, if you're overweight, there's a lot of things that can trigger leptin to be decreased. So if you're eating very fast and your leptin is decreased, that means it's going to take a while before the leptin tells your brain that you're full. So you might have gotten to the point where you were technically full, but you don't know that you're full. You don't feel that you're full until a little bit later. So you could overeat after the moment where you're full. You could be eating still because it hasn't triggered yet. That's where you get that sensation where you feel like you're going to vomit, where you feel like your stomach is going to explode, where you're not even comfortable in your bed. You can't really sleep well. Like you're trying to lie down, but your stomach is so full that you have no like comfort spot, because it's just impossible because of how full you are. You get that because you got to the point where you were full. Your body didn't tell you yet, and then you kept eating because of that. And then now that your body has caught up, you are past full. So eating slowly doesn't necessarily make it happen. It's more so where your leptin is. If you have good leptin secretion, you might know when you're full immediately, right? But eating slowly, I get his point. It does help get you to get to that point, and not overdo it as much because you were slow enough that you let leptin catch up. All right, let's continue.
Number 3, drink a lot of water. This is really important. It's actually proven to help keep the fat off of you. Drink at least 8 glasses a day.
He's right there. Before lipolysis takes place, hydrolysis takes place, and that is when water goes into the fatty acids, or water goes into the fat molecules to break them down, to help break them down. A lot of times when you're losing weight, you are losing a lot of water because water is being used to break down the fat, to metabolize the fat. So yes, drinking water is important. It does help a lot. It does help a lot.
Number 2, cut out the carbs. Now this may be common sense to some of you guys out there that are doing low carb diets, but cutting down carbs, especially refined carbs and simple sugars, is essential so that you don't store all those calories. And
okay. All right. There's a few things with low carb diets and keto. 100%, I'm not against them. Do I believe that they're a sister diet to intermittent fasting? I do, because it helps you kind of get into a post-absorptive range much quicker, because you have less glycogen, because you aren't consuming so much carbohydrates, and carbohydrates is what creates glycogen because it's glucose. Now, I will say though that consuming carbohydrates or refined sugars, the way he was mentioning it, yes, they can cause a thing where they can be highly palatable. They can be very low in calorie. I'm sorry, very high in calorie and highly palatable. Therefore, it's easy to overeat those because you don't feel satiated at all. There's no satisfaction. You feel like you could eat more. You feel like you barely ate anything. But in reality, you've eaten so many calories. And because it tastes so like good, it's so palatable, you want more of it. So it's like the double whammy to put you into a bad spot. Tastes super good and has no calories. Triple whammy. I'm sorry. Tastes super good, has an immense amount of calories, and the third thing is you don't even feel full or satisfied when you eat it. That's why you could eat 3 donuts, even though they have even though each donut is like 300 and something, almost 400 calories. You can eat 3 of them with no problem. But if you eat one steak that's like 200 and something calories, you'll feel way more full, way more satisfied than if you ate those 3 donuts. So in the sense of your hormones and how you're going to feel and your ghrelin and all of that stuff, yes, I understand, reducing carbohydrates, but you don't have to eliminate carbohydrates if you don't want to. There have been studies showing carbohydrates, low carb versus high carb and stuff like that, and with low fat or whatever, low fat high carb or high carb low fat, and there was barely any difference. And they've done metabolic ward studies on this as well, where people were literally kept in a metabolic chamber, one time for 1 month, another time for 2 months, and no difference. So keep in mind, calories is probably the most important thing, but we can't neglect the hormonal reactions. And this is where the highly palatable, highly caloric, not satisfying comes into play, and that could affect you with weight loss. Let's continue.
Number 1, and maybe just as important as all the others, weight training. This is correct. Weight training for men and women has been proven to help you burn fat and build muscle. You don't have to get bulky. You can do a lot of reps at low weights, but weight training is essential if you want to do it the most effectively. In any case, if you have experience with burning fat, or if you've tried any of these, I look forward to hearing your comments from you soon. Thanks so much for watching.
Okay. Yeah, weight training does help you, but he didn't really touch on it. He just said do it. It's because your muscles is very is metabolically active, very metabolically active. So the more muscle you have, the more that your body is like think of everything as the central generator that determines where energy needs to go, right? If you don't have muscle, your body says, oh, I don't got to throw energy at that thing. But if you do have muscles, your body's like, oh, got to put some calories in there, got to throw some energy into that. Here's some energy. And if you're at a caloric deficit, it's like, oh, I got to put more energy into this muscle, but he's at a caloric deficit, so I have to go ahead and release these calories. I got to give energy to the heart, got to give energy to the lungs, got to give energy to... The more you put things biologically or set biological bases where your body has to partition more calories, which means it has to send more calories over there, the more it's not keeping it just in your body fat. It's using it from your body fat and giving it to other sources. If you add muscle is the best thing you could do to add other sources on top. And the more muscle you have, the bigger your muscles are, the more hypertrophy, which is the more muscle you grow, the more energy it's required. So it helps you. It's combative to metabolic slowdown, adaptive thermogenesis that happens inevitably when you lose weight. Your energy, your metabolism just goes down simply because of reduction of energy. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis goes down because your body's trying to keep you from burning as much calories as possible. You just weigh less, so everything is less effort overall. So that goes down. The more muscle you have, the more you combat that metabolic adaptation. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it right here. I watched it already. As I said, he gave his points. I filled in the details, and some points he was kind of off on, but he kind of just like was spewing the normal like pop rhetoric of weight loss. So hopefully this video, if you saw this video before, hopefully this video has cleared some stuff up so you can be as effective as possible. Now, please go ahead and hit that like button. Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I will greatly appreciate it. And I will see you tomorrow. This is Fledge Fitness signing out. Peace.